Let's talk about how to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC. The thing is, when you have a new single member LLC, and sometimes you're trying to get a business loan, it can be a little complicated because banks don't know your ass or a credit union don't know your ass, and people are like, you know what, we don't want to deal with you. Especially if you have bad credit, this could be a problem for you. So in today's conversation, I want to explain to you how to actually navigate the whole equation to make sure that you get a personal loan that you can use for business purposes. So here are the steps I really want you to really pay attention to. So the first thing is that before you actually get a personal loan for a new single member LLC, you need to check your credit score. Everything starts from there. I don't care if your single member LLC is in a great industry, you are so good, you are so happy about the industry you want to get yourself into. You're like, yeah, I know I'm gonna make money anyway. The economy is strong, blah 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 blah. If your credit score is crappy, boss, you're not gonna get the personal loan for your new single member LLC. If you go to a bank and explain to them that you need the personal loan for business purposes, they're not gonna give it to you. Same thing for a credit union. So the first thing is you want to check your credit score. And when I talk about credit score, we're talking about, we're not talking about having a high credit score. If you have a 600, you are good to go. As a matter of fact, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal not long ago where the Wall Street Journal was talking about the fact that some banks in some parts of the country, they were lowering the bar in terms of credit score when it comes to approving loans. This is great news for borrowers. If you are a borrower in the, let's say, in the subprime sort of territory, you are below 600 or you are below 579, you will love that kind of news because this means that you can actually have access to a personal loan for a new single member LLC. By the way, welcome back to the show. I appreciate having you here. I appreciate having this sort of a conversation with you every now and then, so we actually explore topics that are important for single member LLCs. So the thing is that when you actually check your credit score, you have the opportunity to actually fix whatever problems that there are on that credit score or credit report. You can take steps to improve your credit score. You can take steps to say, you know what, I think my COR is too low, or I think that my credit mix is not really too diversified enough. Maybe I need to have business credit cards or personal credit cards for that matter. I need to have a line of credit. I need to have maybe a student loan, or I need to pay off my student loan. Whatever strategy you come up with, you have a clear idea what you need to do. The next thing I want you to do, boss, if you are trying to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC, you need to really have a clear idea about how much you need to borrow. See, the thing is, whether you need the cash for personal reasons or business reasons, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how much do you really need to borrow. And the thing is, when we talk about how much you need to borrow, we have the ancillary inquiry, which is what? How much can you afford? Boss, your single member LLC, it's new. You are a new kid on the block. You are a newbie. You have not proven yourself yet. You have no proven track record. So please do not really settle yourself with debt, too much debt, because your business model has not proved itself to be a success yet. So be very careful about how much you want to borrow. See, the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is that, you could probably say, I want $100,000. Let's say you are having a gung-ho attitude, very ambitious. You want to kick ass. I hear you, son, daughter. I hear you. You want to kick ass. This is good. This is good. Don't get me wrong. I want you to succeed. However, I want to make sure that you succeed in the long run, that you succeed not only now, but you are still around 5 years from now when you actually listen to this show, that you are still around 10 years from now, 50 years from now, that you and I are, God willing, still here. The bottom line is, I'm talking about sustainability. So determine how much you can borrow. Okay, so money, boss. How much can you borrow? Talk to me about that. Talk to me about how much you can borrow. Talk to me about how much you need to borrow. So there are two things: how much you can borrow and how much you need to borrow. Because the first thing is how much you need to borrow is how much you need for your new single member LLC to actually start its operation. And how much you can borrow is your affordability. How much can you afford in terms of your monthly payments? So when we talk about how much you can afford, I'm talking about how much you can add to your existing budget without actually sacrificing everything. or that without sacrificing anything. In other words, you are able to have enough monetary bandwidth in your budget to survive. Okay, because the last thing you want is to get an additional personal loan, whether it is for a new single member LLC or for personal reasons, and you can't survive. Like your DTI goes up, your CUR goes up. You don't want that. You don't want to have that scenario, and I don't want it for you. I do not want it for you. The next thing I want you to do here is if you are trying to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC, you got to shop around, boss. Do not actually settle for the first comer. Like if a lender comes to you, sometimes they will send you a pre-screened offer in the mail. Like you open your mailbox, you see like a lot of banks. Like sometimes you have those weird banks with the weird names, or with those weird lenders with the weird names actually sending you a pre-qual letters. Hey, you can get a loan, whatever. You can get a credit card. You can get anything. You can get a line of credit. You like, and the funny thing is, those lenders, you have no idea where they're located. And when you go online and you type in their name, you realize that it's really hard to actually locate them, even on the web. That's kind of crazy. Do not fall for those. I want you to go to traditional lenders. So there are three types of lenders that I want you to go to if you are trying to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC. You want to go to your traditional, like to your bank or credit union, the bank or credit union where you already have a bank account. You want to go to an online lender, or you want to go to an alternative lender, depending on the industry you're in. So when we talk about getting a personal loan for a new single member LLC, remember that you gotta have the requirements of a single member LLC. In other words, you have your articles of organization, you have your certificate of good standing from the state. Usually you get it from the state after like 3 months, 6 months, depending on the states where you are at. You got to have your registered agent. You got to have a business bank account. If you are trying to have a business, if you are a single member LLC, you can have a personal account. You can decide to operate from a personal account, or you can decide to operate from a business account. Our goal and our advice is for you to have a business bank account and run your business from that account. Even if you have a new single member LLC, you can do that. By the way, boss, so when we talk about shopping around for the best terms and interest rates, you need to find out if you can pre-qualify before submitting. So you can pre-qualify for a loan so that you can preserve your FICO score anyway. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm explaining to you how to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC. And what you want to do here is that when you shop for the best terms and rates, so if you find one that really works for you, if you find the one lender that really suits you, which should be the current bank or credit union where you are currently at anyway. But if you don't like them and you want to go for another one, see if their conditions are kind of cool for you in terms of getting a personal loan for your new single member LLC. And so if you find one that really works for you, then just go ahead and submit a formal application and just wait for a lending decision. The thing here is that when we talk about that, it's just a lot easier said than done. Let me just break it down further for you. Here are the pro tips that I really want you to pay attention to. So I'm going to give you a few tips for comparing personal loans that you can use for a new single member LLC. So the thing here is that I want to go back to the fact that whenever possible, you want to pre-qualify. And pre-qualification is kind of cool because you are able to see exactly what's available on the market. You are able to see how much you could qualify for, and you are able to see the terms and conditions that you can actually qualify at, or you can qualify under. And this gives you a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility to determine whether or not this is a go or no go. So if you actually see two or three lenders who are trying to pre-qualify you, and they give you terms and conditions that you think are not as good as the others, then you go for the one that you really think might give you the best options. And the cool thing here is that when we talk about getting a personal loan for a new LLC business, remember that you are limited to the amount you can borrow, right? So when we talk about a personal loan, the maximum you could borrow is $100,000 unless you are trying to collateralize the loan. because there are limits. The banks and credit unions have de facto placed on loan amounts for individuals. So you're not going to qualify for a quarter of a million. You're not going to qualify for 1 billion personal loan again, unless you are making bank, unless your balance sheet is strong, unless you are on the wealthy category. But if you are like just like me, for instance, who is trying to make trying to make ends meet, so to speak, then you just need to have you can qualify only up to $100,000. So the point I'm trying to make here is that here is a decision time for you, big decision time, boss. So have you tried to pre-qualify for a personal loan so you can use the cash for your new single member LLC? If yes, which site did you go to? You want to put in the comment section, let us know which site you go to, and later on, just let us know if you actually were able to qualify at all for a loan. In other words, they gave you a pre-qualification offer that you liked, and then you went ahead and applied, and then you also got approved, or you got denied. But either way, let us know how it turned out. And so the thing here is that if you really also want to compare personal loans that you can use for a new single member LLC, you really got to consider the purpose of your loan. See, the whole thing is here, your loan is that you want to use your loan to start a new single member LLC. This is what you need the loan for. And the thing here is that because see, personal loans actually have a variety of I would say objectives or purposes. Like it can be debt consolidation, home improvements, vacation, weddings, funerals, large purchases, or other personal expenses. But in your case, you are trying to build a business from scratch. You are trying to actually build your new LLC. So it's really important to understand that you explain that to the lender. Now, normally lenders do not see any objection. Lenders will not going to restrict your ability to get the funds if you explain things up front. Okay. The thing here is that if you have the right relationship with the lender and you explain to them that you need the cash for business purposes, and you explain to them the fact that you are a new single member LLC and that you will find it harder to qualify for a traditional business credit, a traditional business funding arrangement, and so that you want to actually parlay your great relationship at the personal level to open a personal account, to get a personal account. Most lenders will understand that, not a problem. And especially if you go with the online lenders, they're not going to track how you're going to use the funds anyway. I mean, they might ask you during the application process what you need the cash for, but they're not going to, like once approved, they're not going to track where you're using the cash, like how you're using the cash, what have you. You have total control over that aspect of things. Okay, but what I want to say here is that at the end of the day, you need to consider the purpose of your loan because lenders who actually grant personal loans for new single member LLCs, they have different APR ranges based on the purpose of the loan. For example, a loan that you are going to use for home renovation is not going to carry the same APR as a loan that you are going to use for, let's say, vacation or wedding plans or for funerals. Those are not the same. They're not priced the same way. So it's really quite essential to have a clear idea about that. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you once again in terms of contextualizing today's conversation, I want to explain to you how to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC. And the thing here is that when you are trying to compare personal loans for a new single member LLC, please keep an eye out for additional fees. Now, additional fees that traditional banks and credit unions charges. Now, those fees, in some cases, you find them also with online lenders and alternative lenders. And the thing here is that it's not about just like the fees are just too much or whatever. It's just that if you need cash to start a business or you need cash you already have the new LLC business. You just need extra cash to run the business properly and actually, grow the business over time. What's going to happen here is that you are going to need to look for a personal loan that doesn't charge you like so crazy, like fees are so crazy, because some lenders, they just like will charge you like crazy fees. This could be an administration fee, it can be origination fee, it could be a late payment fee, whatever. I mean, this is just crazy. The bottom line is that you want to actually, nobody has time to read the fine prints, unfortunately, because those fine prints are written in legalese, like they're so complicated. You need to have a JD to understand. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you are able to find a situation where you are finding a loan, a personal loan you can use for your new single member LLC that has lower fees. So money, 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 boss. I want to go back to the question I first asked you. How much do you need? And how much can you afford? How much do you need and how much can you afford will kind of help you zero in on the loan that you need, so that you can also avoid paying some of those crazy high fees that we've been talking about. And it's also really important to understand that if you are trying to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC, you need to consider the geography that your business will be located in, right? Because the geography will play an important role in terms of revenue generation. Unless you have an online business, unless your new single member LLC is an online business, in that case, geography plays no role. Geography actually is just like plays a peripheral role in terms of making sure that you actually generate revenue. Here is that if you are trying to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC, you really need to actually think about customer support, especially if your new single member LLC will need customer service or has some questions. Let's say the funds are dispersed, the funds are not dispersed, and you want to actually establish a great relationship with that lender so that you can actually come back for more loans, over and over, loans and business lines of credit, right? Because the whole thing here is that you don't want to actually continue getting a personal loan and using that personal loan for business purposes. This is great if you do it like for one time or two times, but if you keep doing this over and over and over, this defeats the whole purpose of having a personal loan or having a business loan for that matter. And because it's important, those loans have different requirements, and it's just important to run your new single member LLC in such a way that you are generating revenue, and you are getting enough revenue to grow your business, to scale it, so you can actually have a business bank account and you can borrow larger amounts in the future to sort of sustain your working capital. And as you know, working capital can be disrupted if you are dealing with cyclicality or seasonality in your business profile. Okay, so those are really important elements you have to pay attention to, and that because if you are a new single member LLC, chances are you are maybe making money right now from your side gig as an individual. Like you are probably doing a job on the side from 9 to 5 or what have you, that will help you, that will give you the cash you need to actually fund your new single member LLC. However, you also need to think about customer support. If you will need to have help from the bank or the lender, or you will need to have clarifications in terms of the loans requirements. All those things play an important role in terms of helping you run your business effectively. You might say, well, I don't need to talk to customer service. I just need them to set up the account for me. But God forbid, if you have one problem and it takes forever to fix, you are going to really regret not paying attention to the customer support aspect of things. You have to. For your attention, I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just quickly talking to you about how to get a personal loan for a new single member LLC. So I give you the steps and the pro tips. Thank you. God